Welcome to Sleeping with Sarah. I'm Sarah Albritton, a narcoleptic comedian, and this is a podcast where I interview people in bed and we talk about sleep, comedy, and relationships. I'm happy to be part of the Laugh Factory podcast network. For my 44th episode, I had comedian Natalie in my bed. We talked about everything from yoga to gentrification to technology addictions, of course, comedy, and being a musician as well. You can follow Natalie on Twitter at Natalie Jose, that's NATALIE JOSE, or go to nataliejosecomedy.com. You can catch me on January 16th at Zanies in Chicago. Sleeping with Sarah is brought to you by Audible.com. Go to audibletrial.com/sleepingwithsarah to get a free audiobook of your choice. This week I'd like to recommend Is Everyone Hanging Out Without Me? By Mindy Kaling. Again, that's audibletrial.com/sleepingwithsarah. Please remember, if you like the podcast, to rate and review on iTunes and iHeartRadio and the Google Play Store. Find out more on the website, sleepingwithsarah.com, and follow me on Twitter at Sarah Albritton. Well, let's get started with the show. Welcome to Sleeping with Sarah. I'm Sarah Albritton, and this is my guest, Natalie Jose.
Hi.
How'd you sleep last night, Natalie?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
I'm gonna keep waking up really early.
Yeah? You not a morning person?
Certainly not. But what happens now is, like, whenever I wake up, whatever wakes me up, then I'm, like, up. And I can't go back to sleep.
Oh, you can't get back to sleep.
So it's, like, even if I have to, like, just pee, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's tough. Do you end up getting a lot of stuff done, or do you end up just, like, farting around and doing whatever?
Usually I, like, lay in bed until my brunch date comes over the last month or so.
I keep noticing, yeah, do you have, like, a daily brunch thing?
I'm doing that? No, I think just for the month of December. I was supposed to have Cecilia today, but she canceled, so I didn't have a brunch date, which is fine. I feel like, go a day without. But sometimes I'm productive. I'm trying not to, like, just go on Facebook the moment I wake up. You know what I mean? Because I find that whatever the first post I see just fills me with rage.
Yeah, I'm trying not to look at news, but I find myself just doing it, and it just makes me more angry.
Yeah.
I think the problem is that we just have it. Like, people used to get up and shower and go about their day, and then they'd pick up the paper outside, and then they'd read about the world. Mm-hmm. Now we don't even have time for any of that. We just get bombarded with everything.
Yeah, and there's just, like, so many. It's like, I gotta check Facebook, and then Instagram, and then Twitter, and then Snapchat, and then it's just, like, and then email. Like, email's, like, less. So it's just, like, too much.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's like you need, like, another person to do all that for you.
I'm trying not to scroll the feed, and that was, like, another thing that, like, because I've kind of had, like, been a little bit insomniac-ish. Because I feel like you can just lay in bed and, like, look at that light and just, like,
well, it's like
scroll
your brain
forever.
isn't even on. I feel like sometimes you just, like, turn off your brain a little bit, like automatic behavior. You just kind of, like, look at it and you're not even really reading it sometimes.
Exactly. You're just like, something will make me feel good in here. No, nothing.
It's like the glow of the light of the cell phone at night just, like, doesn't...
Which keeps you up. I mean, it's, like, proven.
Yeah.
That, like, makes it worse for sleeping.
Well, it's like the whole, like, likes thing, too. Like, that's, like, similar to, like, getting in like,
it's, like, weird to talk
or
to you,
something.
but not look at you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do people do
good.
a side spoon?
Oh, yeah, we do. I've done all different ways, so.
Like a side spoon.
Yeah, this is good, too. But yeah.
I could go upside down, feet up here, and that would look like we were going to 69.
Wow, that would certainly excite some people.
69ing with Sarah? That would be a fun show.
That would be a fun show. 69ing with Sarah.
It could be a webcam.
Oh, a webcam?
Webcamity.
Webcamity. Oh, that's kind of fun.
That is fun.
I'm sure somebody would be into that, right?
Watch me jerk off and tell jokes.
Yeah.
I gotta take that idea and run with it.
Yeah.
Jerk off with Jose.
Jerk off with Jose.
A webcamity.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
That is fun. Who doesn't want to watch me jerk off?
I can't think of anyone.
I really can't think of anyone.
That's cool. And what's your tattoo here?
That's my Grandma Betty. These are her watches. Not that I'm ruining, slowly but surely.
Do they all work?
No, none of them.
Oh, that's.
But I could probably put batteries in them. But
no, I think that's cool.
like I broke the face off this one, and then the hands, and then some of the ticks. This one I cracked.
I have bad luck with watches. That I either break them or I lose them, and I think it's...
Well, these, like, you can't get them off. You know?
You, like, literally can't?
They're just hard to do, like, with
so
one
tiny.
hand.
Gosh, people also had, like, really fucking dainty hands back in the day.
People used to have to get married just because they needed someone to help them take their jewelry off.
Oh, wow.
Fact.
If that's a reason that people had to get married?
I think so.
Oh, my gosh. It still amazes me, some things. Like, the fact that women couldn't get credit cards before the 70s and, like, stuff like that. Like, it's...
I know. When will we have equal rights, do you think? In Trump's America? Is there equal rights in America now?
I'm still holding out a little bit of hope. I know by the time this comes out that it will be answered.
This is good for my back.
Oh, yeah. That'll work.
Let's do yoga.
Let's do yoga in bed. Yoga in bed. We're coming up with all sorts of ideas. Now I'll have to air this video.
Do you do yoga?
I do it sometimes. I don't like doing it in class because I always fall asleep at the end and I get a little embarrassed because someone has to come and wake me up.
Oh, yeah. So what's the deal? You're a narcoleptic?
Mm-hmm. So I sleep a lot. I take medicine to stay awake.
That's crazy.
But at the very end, when they tell everyone to relax their body completely in yoga, I will always fall asleep, like, within 5 seconds. And so at the end of class, someone has to, like, come wake me up, and I get a little embarrassed. Which is not a reason not to do yoga.
But do you tell the teacher ahead of time?
Oh, sometimes. I mean, it's very weird. In college, I used to tell people, like, right away. I'd be like, oh, this is my way to get to know the professor and also kind of get away with stuff later. I kind of just let them know, hey, like, if I fall asleep in class, like, don't fail me.
Do you snore?
Sometimes. Not that much. I don't have sleep apnea. Like, the last time I got a sleep study done, they concluded that I snore, like, once every 1.5 hours or something on average, and that's not enough to be sleep apnea.
My roommate and bestie took a sleep study, but I don't know what the results were. I don't even know if he got the results.
Yeah, sleep studies are freaking weird, man. They plug, like, 50 things to your head and your chest, and they just, like, have you go in, like, at 8 o'clock at night. Like, you're supposed to go to sleep at, like, 9. And it's, like, it's a very weird thing. And then they just wake you up the next day and they keep turning the lights off and then waking you up and turning the lights off and waking you up. For narcolepsy, at least. Because they test how quickly you fall asleep and how quickly you go to REM.
Yeah.
So, it's weird, man.
So how long have you had it?
Well, it's something you have all your life. So it's like I was diagnosed in early teens, which is really lucky because it starts in early teens. I was diagnosed like about 2 years in. And most people don't get properly diagnosed. Like 3/4 of the people that have narcolepsy don't know it. And it's probably the reason why I talk about it a lot. Probably the reason I have the podcast to bring out more awareness.
How can people not know that they fall asleep?
Well, they know that they fall asleep, but people attribute the sleepiness to other things, to depression, to ADHD.
But like to suddenly fall asleep in class?
Well, not all of it's like it's done in the movies. Like the falling down thing they make fun of in the movies, you know, that's a real thing, but only about, I'd say, less than half of narcoleptics experience that. I'm one of those people, but...
You fall down?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not that often anymore. Like, in high school it would happen a couple times a day, but now it happens, like, once a month.
You just fall down and go to sleep?
Well, it happens at a shock. It's called a cataplexy, and it usually... Everyone has a trigger, kind of, for it. And mine usually happens at a shock or a change of emotion. So if I'm really surprised or if I feel really emotional... Like, I have a joke that I used to get so angry in fights with my ex that I would literally have a cataplexy in the middle of fights. And, yeah, it's just, but I wake up in, like, a minute. It's like...
I wonder if people want to, like, make you mad to watch you do it.
Oh, well, I can also laugh so hard that it happens. And so I've told a comic before, and his, like, eyes lit up, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna make you laugh so hard you fall asleep.
And did he?
No, he didn't.
Who was it?
It's Tony Hinchcliffe.
Okay.
But
I don't know if I know Tony.
He has a podcast called Kill Tony. He's in LA.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I kind of put on I guess like a mask a little bit. I try not to laugh as hard for that kind of reason. It's
weird to like be in the comedy world and be like, I can't laugh.
Well, it's not that I can't laugh. It's just if I laugh like uncontrollably, it might get to the point where I'd do that. But I don't know. It's an interesting challenge for anyone who wants to make me laugh that much. Who's
the hardest you've laughed at in the comedy scene?
In the comedy scene. Oh my gosh, there's so many people that made me laugh in this scene. Well, he's not in this. I really think Drew Michael's really funny. I know he's not here anymore. I really liked Emily's stuff a ton.
Yeah, she's great.
She's fucking great. I feel like a lot of the people I'm naming are like people that are moving or have moved. But Marty DeRosa, love him. I mean, there's so many people I love in the scene.
Yeah.
Basically. But yeah, I don't know. Like there are just people that crack me up. I don't know. I also love smart comedies like Rachel McCartney.
Yeah,
her stuff
great.
is so fucking smart.
Yeah.
But like Stephen King, his weird character stuff I love too. So
yeah, he's great.
I don't know.
A lot of cool comics in Chicago.
Yeah. And how did you get into the comedy scene? You started in music, right?
I started them both at the same time. I mean, it was really weird. It was like a really impressive August of 2009. I got drunk. I like posted on Facebook. I was like, I've got a bottle of Jameson. Who's gonna help me drink it? And then my friend who who lived in Naperville, but he was older than me, he came over and we got drunk. And I was like, I want to start a Patsy Cline cover band. So he like put the whole band together. And then so we started rehearsing for that. And then I did I.O. and I hated it. Like dreaded it going there and just was like, I'm so funny, why isn't this working, and why can't I understand what's happening in any scene?
Yeah.
And why is it noon, you know what I mean? And
you feel like that's during the day's too early to perform comedy?
Oh, it's too early for me to do anything. Yeah, I mean, I don't like come alive until like 8 at night. But I did the whole thing. I was like determined to stick it out. I was like, you're not going to be a quitter. And then, $1,800 later, didn't make a team. And Noah Gregolopoulos, or whatever his name is. Did you go do I.O.?
I did I.O., yeah.
His note for me was pretty great, which was like, try to amuse yourself less and the audience more.
See, you would have done well at Annoyance, I think. Because Annoyance is more about like taking care of yourself first and then taking care of the other people and like just owning your own shit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I wish I'd known anything going into it. I mean, I literally was like, is this whose line is it anyway? I didn't know what I was doing.
The only reason I started it was because I was in a super serious theater school and I was like, this is so intense, After like playing intense roles, I was like, I have to do something lighter, so.
Yeah.
But so you went from I.O. stuff. When did you decide to say, hey, I want to do stand-up?
So my friend Paul Nixon had a show called Sweater Kittens Variety Hour. And I think I'd probably just said, like, oh, I want to try stand-up in passing to him or something. So one night he was like, do you want to do my show, like, next week or whatever? And I was like, yeah. And so it was at the Whistler. And so I'd never even done an open mic. And I had all my jokes on, like, note cards. And I don't even know if I remember, like, flipping through the note cards on stage or not, but I did 18 minutes.
See, I'm so fascinated by the people that do, like, their first time doing stand-up doing so much time.
Well, because he didn't tell me how much time to do, and I didn't know that there was no indication for me to get off stage. So I just kept going. And, like, I was just ranting. Someone compared me to, like, Dennis Leary afterwards. And then I I was like resting on the mic stand at a certain point because I was like out of breath from just like I think it was full of rage and just.
Did you get laughs?
It's hard to say. I mean, I don't feel like I bombed. I mean, I'm sure it was awful. I'm sure it was. Wish I could see it.
Yeah.
Or not probably, but
Oh, that would be.
It felt good though. It felt right. I was like, oh, this is why improv wasn't right.
That's how I felt that was different too, because I had always felt the dependence on other people being like, oh, the whole group is funny, I wasn't taking it for my own. And then I would stand up, it was like, oh no, I can be funny by myself, I don't need these other people.
Well, yeah, and I don't like I felt like I didn't want to let down other people, like even sports. I prefer like singles tennis, or like I'd rather shoot pool and play singles. Like I'll play doubles, but you lose the groove. I mean,
yeah, you like to
when
do
you're
it.
only playing once every 3 turn. You know what I mean? You can't get into the groove. And I don't really like doubles tennis, and I like ping pong. I like just solo. If I fail, I fail. If I succeed, I succeed.
So you're not bringing anybody down or having anyone come up with you. Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, I try to help people come up.
Yeah. Well, I meant like with the games.
Right.
But I like ping pong too. That's fun. I haven't played that in forever though.
Oh my God. My brother and I walked by this ping pong bar downtown. and we like grew up playing ping pong, and it was like it felt like fate, like we had to play. It's kind of hard to lay down. Do you lay down?
Yeah.
Do you ever sit up?
Yeah, sometimes I've sat up. A few people have been like, oh, I feel like sitting up. I had to sit up for Joe Kilgallen's because we did it on his couch, so we ended up sitting up for that.
And so you didn't do it in your bed?
No, I was in LA.
Oh, okay. So we walk in there, and then I was like, oh, fucking Susan Sarandon owns this place, who I hate Susan Sarandon.
Wait,
from
why?
the election.
Why do you hate?
Ruined one of my favorite movies of all time.
Which
Thelma
one?
Louise, Thelma and Louise.
Oh.
Because very early on in the election, she was like, I don't vote with my vagina.
Oh, yeah, I remember she said that.
Which made me so angry. And then she was, like, saying crazy shit, like how if Bernie didn't win, like how Trump would bring the coming of the revolution. And a bunch of bullshit like that. So I really didn't want to support Susan Sarandon. There's a goddamn giant photo of her over, like, the front desk of the ping pong bar.
Oh, gotcha.
And my brother and I went in there, and it was... Oh my god, it was so expensive. How much was it? Oh, I wish I could remember. It was like $39. I can't remember how much it was. It was a lot. For like an hour or half an hour of ping pong.
What?
But the cool thing is, so my brother and I debated it, and I kind of goaded him in, because he was like, well, I would have kicked your ass anyway. And I was like, you think you'd kick my ass? So then we had to play. But you can just let the ping pong balls go, so you don't have to...
Pick them up?
So that makes it easier and faster to play. And it was just very fun. It was to watch...
God,
my brother and I just, like, slip back into, like me just, like, emotionally, just us, our banter back and forth, and, like,
yeah,
was really fun. And, yeah, my dad used to, like, he would, like, hit the ping pongs to the other sides of the table, so I would just constantly be running back and forth, and, like, would ricochet off the wall to, like, get, and he just, it must have been so entertaining to watch that, as he just hits the ball from side to side,
Oh, that's fun. And it was just, like, so easy for him, and you're running back and forth.
Right. And then the bartender was like, why are you guys so good? And I was like, we're Joseph's motherfucker. But I like when we have long points. Like, my brother does too much spin, and it's like, just, let's have some good points.
Yeah. I used to play with my dad a lot, too. My dad and my brother. I haven't played it in forever.
It's so fun.
No, like, I guess I played it in the summer. I forgot.
There's that Happy Village that has...
Oh, Happy Village. Oh.
It only has 2 tables, though.
Yeah, it's a new thing coming up. Like,
but it's very expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, very expensive. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, so not worth the pay there, but to...
And there was no one in there. They were like, this is our weekend rate. It was like a Sunday night. And I was like, you should just have us play as, like, advertised. Because we were, like, right in the window as people were walking by. So it's like...
Yeah,
you bring people in.
You should just get them to be like, hey, pay us just to play.
Exactly. A guy ended up letting us play longer than our whatever amount of time.
Well, that's good. Well, you should if you're bringing people in. If people are like, wow, they make ping pong look so much fun.
So easy. Yeah.
It's like you burn a lot of calories. You playing ping pong, running back and forth, and
the guy was like, you can't believe how bad people are. They come in and play. It's like, oh, I bet.
Oh yeah. Well, they've probably never done it before.
It's so weird. So weird to just, like, something that's you just grow up with, and you just are like, everyone can do this. And then you're like, oh, everyone can't do this.
What other stuff did you grow up with? Like, were your family artistic or anything like that, or music?
I mean, I was in choirs and stuff. No, my family's not very artistic. I mean, my brother's an excellent photographer, but he doesn't really do that anymore. A lot of storytellers, a lot of alcoholics and storytellers. Yeah. And, what the fuck else did I do growing up? Plays until high school. And then I just was, like, smoking cigarettes and Pink Floyd, getting high, drinking beers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, being cool.
Too cool for school.
Too cool to do all that stuff.
I'm still too cool for school. Won't go back to school. Yeah.
So you have been singing for a while and performing, like, a lot of your life.
Yeah, I didn't struggle with that, which I think is, like, one thing that comics, like these people that have, like, stage fright, and you're like, oh my god, why are you doing this? Like, I love entertaining. I mean, I still, like, was very nervous, like, the first year and a half.
Well, it's a different kind of thing. Like, when I first did it, I was like, because I was used to being on stage, but playing somebody other than myself. So it's just getting used to being, hey, this is me and who I am.
Right.
Versus, so, like, I wasn't afraid of being on stage and talking to people. I was just more like, oh, I have to be myself.
And you'll see that lots of people aren't themselves. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. And that's why I kind of like how I just kind of went into it, because I feel like some people do try to be somebody else for the first couple years, and then they find their voice.
Yeah. So, and then also because I didn't start till I was 27, I felt like in some ways I'm like, oh, I'm too old for showbiz anyway.
Well, that's bullshit.
Well, it is and it isn't. I mean, for sure. But I did feel like it gave me a huge advantage in that, like, I'd already lived a whole life. Like, I already had so many experiences. I already knew my voice. I already...
You knew who you were.
Exactly.
Versus people that are starting when they're 18, 19. You have no idea who you are.
No idea.
And there's so much that changes even from when you're, like, 19 to, like, your mid-20s, you know?
Right.
And there's just... You grow up so much. And you go through so much stuff. You probably changed more in your 20s than you do any other point in your life.
I don't know. I mean, my 30s have been really transformative. I feel like 33 was like a magical year, and then 34 was like losing my mind year, and then 35 is going to be killer. Turning 35 Saturday.
Oh, wow. Happy
no big
early
deal.
birthday.
35 years old. Is that officially middle-aged?
No, I don't know if that's middle-aged. I think you're as young as you feel, personally. I don't know. I think it's... I don't know. I feel like people are weird about ages. I'm weird about ages, but I just try to keep things vague just because if I want to start doing things, I don't want people to know my real age.
Oh, I like getting older. I feel like I get smarter, I get more experienced, I get more confident. I feel like I look better than I ever have looked. I'm totally fine aging. I mean, I don't like crow's feet that much, but what can you do?
Yeah. And do you have older or younger brothers or sisters?
I have an older brother.
Older brother.
And he's pretty wild character himself. He would did maybe a year of college, then like traveled the world, like went to like New Zealand for a long time, went to like Cambodia and Vietnam.
I've been to those places.
But traveled with like no money. Like would be riding on top of buses with like the luggage, like dodging tree branches.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He can live on like nothing.
That's a good skill to have.
Yeah, he's but shockingly forgetful like my dad. And then he like was a commercial fisherman in Alaska, and then he bought a sailboat and taught himself how to sail. And then his boat caught fire and sank to the Sea of Cortez in Mexico. And then the sailing community, he lost everything. I mean, and then the sailing community pitched together and bought him a new boat, which was like the same boat that he had but shittier. And then he like fixed it up, and then he sailed to French Polynesia, 30 days at sea from Mexico to French Polynesia.
Like all by himself?
He had a gal with him. And I had bought a ticket for $1,888 to Tahiti. And then he crashed his boat into a sandbar, and I never got to go.
Ooh.
And I was very sad.
Oh, that's too bad.
You know. Imagine just going to Tahiti and, like, sailing around.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
But he got to see a bunch of French Polynesia. So he ended up, like, crashing into a sandbar. And then, like, the villagers were, like, rowing out to his boat every day to, like, pillage it. And he got in, like, his little skiff or whatever, dinghy or whatever. And and he said that there were, like, all these sharks, like, trailing them to the island. And then there was a population of 70 people on this island.
And they were pillaging his boat?
Well, I mean, which he was fine with. What's he going to do with it, you know? And then he stayed with a mayor. And then there's, like, videos of, like Tahitian women or, like, Polynesian women, like, you know, dancing. But, like, just in, like, the back of a garage, you know, like...
That's weird.
So weird.
An island of 70 people. That's insane.
And he said, like, the journey there to me seemed like the craziest thing. Because I think the gal was pretty much worthless. And so I think he had to do all the work. And so you can't ever really go to sleep. I mean, he said at one point he remembers, like, trying to sleep. And it was just, like, whales fucking all around him. Like, just the sounds of whales. Like,
the sounds of whales fucking?
Yeah. And then he said when you get to the equator, the water is, like, perfectly still. And then these squalls come. These, like, storms erupt out of nowhere. And he said he would just be diving, like, just holding onto the boat, just diving down waves. And this is, like, a small boat, like, I don't know, 27 feet.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Super crazy. And, like, just to not see anything for 30 days, like, in the middle of the ocean is, like, kind of terrifying to me.
That is scary.
And he's kind of scared of water, so it's even weirder.
That is, well, maybe he's trying to overcome his fear?
Like, Jaws really fucked us up. I think it fucked up a whole generation of kids.
I think it's interesting when you're exposed to something really young as a kid that, like, that will, like, totally impact you later on.
Like, whenever I would get out of water, I, like, go to the Jaws cam of, like, seeing my legs and, like, you know what I mean? I, like, envision what's underneath me. Well, although I don't, like, I'd rather be in clear water, I guess, but then when you see what's around you. Like, I went scuba diving once, and there was just, like, a barracuda near me, and I was like, I don't like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, would you rather not know or know what's around you?
I don't know. I mean, I've gone scuba diving, too, and there's that point where it drops off. Oh, my God, I would never go scuba diving. Where it drops off, and, like, there's, like, black. Like,
where did you go scuba diving?
It was in Cabo San Lucas in Mexico.
It got black?
So, like, I went down, like, 60 feet. So, like, when you go down to a certain point, there's a drop-off. Like, you could see where there's, like the ocean bottom, and then it just drops off and you don't see anything. Like, it's dark. Like, you don't see where it ends. And that's, like, the part where I kind of was like, wow. I really, like, thought about it. I was like, the ocean is super, like, it's so much in there. Like, there's so many species we still haven't discovered.
Weird shit
so much crazy stuff down there. Like, but, I don't know. I think it's really interesting, but it was just kind of, that was the part where I got scared. I was like, oh, I see the ocean bottom, I see fish around me, and then still fish around me, but then there's just black. There's nothing. I don't see where it ends. And that was a little scary, because I was like, oh, like, something could come at me at any time.
Yeah, I don't like that. Like, I don't know. I would probably have a panic attack.
Yeah.
I'm not, like, a very strong swimmer, either. Like, I'm not a bad swimmer, but, like, I think if I was in, like, rough water or, like, if a current was taking me, I don't know. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's I mean, like, I think I'm a strong swimmer, but I don't know, I've grown up swimming, but I didn't, like, grow up in, like, harsh water or anything. I wasn't, like, on a coast where I was, like, surfing or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's...
like, surfing scares me, too.
Surfing scares you?
Yeah.
You know what's fun?
Big waves scare
Jet skiing is so much fun, though. Jet skiing's like... It's
jet
like
ski. Well, that's a different thing than like, surfing.
Yeah. Well,
one is sitting on a motorized... The other one is you balancing on something, and you look like a seal to sharks.
Well,
and there's a wave crashing.
Well, to be honest, most of surfing is, like, sitting out and waiting for the right wave and, like, trying to go out. Like, the actual surfing part is actually very little of it. It's, like...
I don't know, but those big waves, I don't know. I just dive into them when they come.
So what other stuff are you afraid of?
I was talking with someone today. I was like, not, like, dying, but not death. But, like, the process of, like, I'm dying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, the pain
like
of it?
Like, being sick or, like... Yeah. The pain of it, the, like...
I think what I wouldn't like is, like, if I was, like, stuck in a coma somewhere and I could, like, know everything that's going around me, but I wouldn't be able to, like, wake up or...
Ooh.
Like that. I think I just get that because of the sleep paralysis stuff I have. You ever had that? So you feel like you're paralyzed, like, when you're first waking up?
No.
It's called sleep paralysis. It's, like, one of the most terrifying things. I mean, like, I feel like I'm downplaying it because I've had it, like, a lot. Like, I mean... I'll have it probably, like, a couple times a week now, but I used to have it, like, every single day. But it's, like, where you feel like you're paralyzed and you can hear what's going on around you and you can see it, but it's like your body is still in sleep mode, but your mind wakes up early, and so your body is still kind of, like, paralyzed, so you feel like you're paralyzed and you can't move.
Ew.
It's pretty scary.
God, I feel bad for you.
No, don't. It's all right. It's like there's a lot of cool things about what I do too. I naturally hallucinate.
Oh, that's cool.
So
I've done the lucid dreaming.
Oh yeah,
a few times.
What do you do with lucid dreaming? Do you fly or
fucking fly?
Yeah, that's what I do too.
Duh. Wish I could fly. I used to have very vivid dreams when I was a kid that I could like fly, and I would just like run really fast through a field, and then I could take off and fly.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
I like flying in dreams.
Oh, God, it's the best. Like, who wouldn't fly as their superpower? Idiots.
Yeah. I don't know.
Idiots. But yeah, I feel like I don't dream that much lately. I don't really remember. Actually, lately I've been dreaming. But I'll have long chunks of time where it's like... And it's like maybe that's the drinking, too. I find it hard to go to bed if I'm sober.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's got their own thing that they do.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that with different things? Like, you find you dream better without... Like if you have a wine versus vodka or something like that, do you find that you dream better or worse or not?
I think the alcohol, like, impedes the dreaming. I don't know. My brother's girlfriend made him this tincture that is like... And you take a couple of droplets of it. It's supposed to help you go to sleep. It puts me right to sleep, and I have vivid dreams when I take it. So I'm like pretty into that. I'm like, I need you to send me a bunch of these bottles.
Mm-hmm. Where's it from?
She just makes it.
Oh, wow.
They're both like massage therapists now, and she does a lot of like oils or what's that shit called? Yeah, like
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Drinking oil? I don't know what the fuck.
Oils, crystals, all that shit.
Yeah. So, that's cool.
What other weird jobs have you had? Have you had any random oddball jobs?
I've had a lot of jobs. I had a lot of jobs in high school. I worked at Giordano's was my first job. So
did you grow up here in Chicago?
In Naperville.
Oh, gotcha.
Like, we moved there when I was like 11 from Pittsburgh. So I did that, and then I did like Famous Dave's, Starbucks, Joanne Fabrics for a hot minute. Just cutting fabric and just like, please don't pull out that pattern because I don't know what it is. Where else have I worked? Pizza delivery in college, which was my favorite job ever. Just
really?
And it was like cool because you'd like make pizzas until you had one that you needed to take, and then but you know it was kind of a nightmare because it was like a college campus, and it was a college campus in a very rural setting. So sometimes I had to deliver out to like no street lights, like where's the address, like am I gonna get murdered, or to like truckers and like motels like just outside of campus.
What campus?
Ohio University, Athens.
Oh, yeah. I know someone that did a graduate there, playwright stuff, so.
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah.
And you'd like deliver pizzas to like college kids. You'd be like, see a Bob Marley poster, and you're like, you don't have to tip me in cash. And you just drive around high and listen to music. And like, for an entire summer, I ate nothing but pizza. Like, get off my shift, bring pizza to my friends, start drinking, you know?
That's nice.
Wake up. Didn't have to be at work till like 4.
Easy.
So it was just like sleep till 4. I feel like I used to sleep a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I used to nap in, like, high school. I was, like, love sleeping.
Yeah. I do that a lot, too, so I feel like that's, I don't know, I feel like that's a good thing. I think it's good to nap and rest.
So how much do you sleep in a day, do you think? In 24 hours?
If I didn't take my medicine, I would probably sleep, if I took no medicine, I'd probably sleep, like, 18 hours.
So are you, like, extreme narcolepsy? Or?
I'm pretty extreme, yeah.
And what's the medicine?
I take, basically... they give me like Ritalin, like uppers, basically to stay awake.
Yikes.
Yeah, so that's that.
Basically Ritalin, or is it Ritalin?
Well, there's an extended release thing I take that's like Focalin, and then I take Ritalin as like a backup. And then I have this other medicine I take at night that tries to stop the falling down of hallucinations and the sleep paralysis and all the other random shit that comes with it.
Do you want to stop the hallucinations?
Not sometimes. I mean, sometimes when I wake up and I hallucinate a huge ass spider crawling on my leg, yeah, I want to not do that sometimes. But I don't know. Sometimes the hallucinations are good. It just depends.
It's like where your mind's at.
The name of it is ridiculous. There's 2 different kinds. Hypnagogic hallucinations is when I start, if I'm really tired and I'm awake, I've been awake all day and I'm starting to get really tired, then I start to hallucinate. And then when I first wake up, I think it's called hypoponic hallucinations, is when you first wake up and you hallucinate. So, like, there's 2 different kinds. Like, it sounds made up, but these are real medical terms. But I've had really cool ones, but I've also had a lot of scary ones. So it's kind of, I mean, it's not the same as doing a hallucinogen. You know, it's very different, but it's, hard to explain, but it's very weird that my body naturally like wants me to hallucinate and sleep all the time. So my body's saying.
And do you do like hallucinogens, like acid and mushrooms?
Haven't done acid. I've done mushrooms a couple times, and I've really enjoyed those experiences. Those have been like super fun.
Everyone should do mushrooms at least once. I say 5 times at least.
I agree with that, but I've been trying to space out, like do it once a year. You know, like I've only done it like twice, and this last time we went to the Fire Jam, and
that sounds like such a hippie thing.
it is. It's people spend fire and dance with fire, and there's like a drum circle. It's up
Where
Foster
is this?
Beach.
Oh.
They do it like once a month around the time of the full moon in the warm months.
Cool.
But,
I want to go to that.
yeah, you should.
Yeah, I think everyone should be outside on mushrooms.
Yeah, I've never done it inside. I think that would feel weird.
I for sure have.
Yeah.
I for sure danced to all of In the Airplane Over the Sea for Marty DeRosa and Lisa Traeger in my living room, and was screaming, "I'm Michelle Lamore."
Ah, Michelle Amore. She's a great...
I'm Michelle Lamore. Ridiculous.
That's hilarious. Have you ever done burlesque or anything like that?
No, I do think it's funny, like the idea of doing like comedy burlesque where I'm like, you know, my pants are stuck around my ankles and I'm like falling over. It's just like the least sexy thing ever.
Oh, that would be fun.
Right?
Yeah, I think that would be interesting.
There's something about burlesque where it's like, and this obviously isn't true for everyone, like Michelle Lamore is like insanely hot, but there's something about it where it's like, look how brave I am. My body's shitty and I'm willing to show it to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like,
You think it's more for the performers than for the people seeing it?
I don't know. I mean, I think there's so much bad burlesque. I mean, there's so much bad everything.
Oh, I remember one time I think I saw like a Star Trek theme burlesque with an X. It was at like Gorilla Tango, and it was like part of it was good, but it wasn't like... I think the only burlesque before I had seen were Michelle Moore shows, actually. Like,
yeah, see, Michelle Moore is the gold standard of burlesque.
Yeah.
I also like Ava Fiva. That's Adam Burke's girlfriend.
uh-huh.
She runs that show at the Clipper, which is really fun. Tuesdays. I don't know if it's every Tuesday. You should go.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
The more that I'm like meeting artists and the better stuff I see, but yeah, shitty burlesque is unwatchable. I mean, my God. But so is shitty improv, and so is shitty stand-up, and so is shitty...
music and everything.
Yeah.
I think the problem is a lot of people, if they're exposed to the wrong... If they're exposed to, like, local stuff that isn't that good, then they'll be like, okay, I only want to see big names in this or well-known people in this. And I think that can be a problem sometimes.
Yeah. I also have to remember that, like, just because you see something or someone one time doesn't mean that, like... Because I've, like, judged stand-ups and been like, oh, they suck. It's like, oh, you just saw them once and they sucked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people have off days or, like... Or trying something and it fails or, you know... You kind of have to see someone a few times to really...
I agree. Yeah, I think that there's definitely people that... Or you change your mind on, you're like, oh, wait, they've gotten, like, way better.
Oh, yeah. Definitely when people turn a corner, you're like, fuck yeah.
Or you haven't seen somebody perform in maybe, like, a year, and you're like, oh, wow, like, they got really, really good.
That's how I felt about Tyler Snodgrass. I, like, somehow just had not seen him do a set for so long. And he was, like, I always liked Tyler fine, but he never stuck out to me as... And then he did Sad Sax, and I was like, wow, he got really good.
Yeah. I forgot to ask...
Tyler.
Yeah, good shout-outs. I like all your shout-outs to everyone. Michelle Moore, Tyler.
Name dropping.
So you, also about the music, though. So when did you start music the same time as stand-up? Or you're just like, hey, I just want to do everything in the microphone I can?
It literally just was a coincidence. The band was put together, and we had our first rehearsal. You know, we started rehearsing in like August, early September, and then we had our first gig in February. So it was a long period of like practicing and like learning just the like 12 songs to do. And now we do like almost 100.
What, Patsy Cline covers?
Yeah.
What's the name of the band?
We do like some, like we've done other covers. Weepin' Willows.
Nice.
Playing this won't be out. December 23rd at the Hideout though. So what, like I'm like, I want to cover Roy Orbison, or like if the pianist and I are just doing one-offs, sometimes we'll do like Lana Del Rey or like
oh, fun.
Slim Whitman. We learned like a Slim Whitman song for a wedding, and now we like kind of incorporate it into our set because we like loved it so much.
That's fun. And do you play anything, or mostly sing?
No, I don't play anything. Yeah, I just sing.
Do you feel like the prep before a music show is very different than the prep before a stand-up show? Or music for me, it's like, especially because I've been doing the band for so long. I mean, we play fewer gigs now, so
this might not be true, but it's like this. I just know the songs. Like we're not going to practice, and we're even going to have a sub bassist for the show, which sucks because I won't have Ari harmonizing with me. But we just know the music. You know what I mean? At this point, it's like I don't have to feel nervous about it. I'm always excited. I mean, like I'll drink tea, but I'll still be like smoking cigarettes. No, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't even like prep for stand-up that much anymore. I mean, I always write out a set list, although recently I haven't been, but I try to just do that. But I always let myself deviate. And then I'll like come back and like cross off what I didn't do, or like just to like keep track. Like if I do, let's say I do Chuck, and then 3 months later I do Chuck again. I like to like look back and be like, what did I do last time I was here? Because I don't like always want to do
the same stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always try to do new shit, like at least a little.
So that's a big difference. Like with music, you're always doing the same songs.
Yeah.
And with stand-up, you're always trying to do different things.
And like silence, it's like performing for silence and or people dancing versus trying to make people laugh. It's just like, I prefer stand-up for me because it's creative, because I don't write the songs that we perform, but like music is just like so powerful, and people have really intense reactions to Patsy Cline. Like my friend's husband was like, the last memory I have of like the last good memory of my parents being together and being happy was them like dancing to Patsy Cline in the living room. Or like,
oh wow,
the woman that owns Honky Tonk Barbecue in Pilsen, every time I play there, she gets annihilated. And then she's like, my grandmother used to play these songs and cry in her closet. And I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
So people really intensely respond to that music and her voice. And, you know, she's such an interesting... You know, I never really liked the idea of a cover band because I was like, well, just see the original. Like when people are in cover bands where you're like, but you could just see the real band. But she died when she was 30. And so, like, most people alive, right? I've never seen her. And... she just has such an interesting story because it's like she was in like a really bad car crash like maybe a year or 6 months to a year before she died in a plane crash. Everyone died in a plane crash then in like the 60s.
Wow. So they just
50s and 60s.
Didn't make planes very well.
They were just like, hey, see this snowstorm? Yeah, go ahead and fly through it.
Oh my God.
But she was like apparently kind of like, it seemed like she knew she was going to die, and like she would say very like cryptic things to people.
Oh, that's weird.
Like she like sensed that it was coming.
Oh, I wonder if you get that weird sense, like if you're attuned to it, that you would like get that sense.
Yeah.
It's like a sixth sense, like a clairvoyant kind of thing, and just like know. Oh, that would so freak me out. Like if like one of my friends would start saying like cryptic things like that would like freak me out.
Yeah. And she had a really like weird life, like just because she like became an overnight thing almost, and like I think her husband was like abusive, and she had like children, and you know, all these people were like writing these songs for her to sing that were like all about heartbreak, and you know, it's just like a weird, and she was like country pop but also jazz and like blues. Like she kind of is all across the board with her music styles. So she's really interesting. She's an interesting person. And 30 years old, she looked so matronly. I mean, a 30-year-old in the 50s and 60s looked...
It's so different looking
50,
at people.
yeah.
Like, looking at people like what... Like, people considered a spinster, like, their 30s, right? Like, back in, like... It's just so ridiculous. I think it's very much shows how much society dictated how you're perceived by the world.
And I think that's still true. I mean, I don't know. I think people don't really use the word spinster so much, but...
No, they don't, but the idea of that, because of the clothing or whatever the style was available to people, or what was acceptable to wear if you were unmarried or not, you know, like
right.
All these different things that they kind of push on people to wear or not wear.
I think it's interesting too is like to be 35 and it's like I don't even experience it because I have so many friends that are like comedians that are 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, but people my age that aren't in a scene like that, it's like, and you're single, it's like, oh shit, like people my age don't go out. Like they have husbands or wives and kids, They're not, like, drinking every night. They're not going out every night. Like, I bet it's, like, lonely. It's like, it seems... Like, people used to come visit me in Chicago all the time. It's like, no one comes anymore.
Oh, yeah.
It's like everyone moved to L.A. and they never come back.
It's like people I know that moved to the suburbs and, like, didn't... Like, they have families and, like, maybe see them, like, once a year, once every couple of years. But it's like... And it's like you don't... I feel like for me, like, it's like the idea of moving to the suburbs is, like...
Death.
Yeah, it is. It's like you're saying, hey, I'm going to stay in. I'm going to just have my kids and my family and make that, like, the core of my life, which I think is great for a lot of people. Don't get me wrong. I think a lot of people, like, their aim in life is to have a family and raise that family and, you know, have all that. But I think for creative people like you and me, we have aspirations that are bigger than the norm.
Like, what are you supposed to do? Like, if I had kids, like, would I stay in the city and be like, go to this shitty public school, or, like, try to get you into these charter schools? And, like, it's so fucking expensive and, like, dangerous, and, like, I don't know. And, like, you want a yard, and, like, like, you're either gonna go I don't know. Like, if you're gonna have a kid, you might as well have a dog, you might as well have a yard, you might as well have peace and quiet. I mean, I'm sick of these people. Get out of the city with your goddamn family. This is where I get to be loud. Oh, be quiet for the neighbors. Maybe don't live by a bar.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yes.
Go to the fucking suburbs where you belong, white people.
And stop dragging up our prices of rent.
Seriously. I mean, how much longer can I afford to live here? I mean, if my friend didn't take me in when I was evicted, I don't know where the fuck I'd be
like,
living.
what happened with that?
So I lived in what was a foreclosed building, and I lived there for like 9 years, and I went through multiple management companies. And, like, I mean, the first, I guess they were brother and sister. I don't know. This woman looked insane. I can't even remember what her goddamn name was. Like, big, like cheap, shitty collagen lips, 2, like, dirty poodles.
Oh my God, she sounds like a character. Like,
she was such a character. In fact, like, I should have been written so much stand-up about her. And, like, I don't even know what happened to them. I think they got in trouble. I think they were, like, stealing money. Like, just no one was in charge, really, and it just kept changing hands. It was like, now you pay rent to this management company. Now you pay rent to this management company. And when I moved in, there really weren't any white people in the building. It was all...
this is Logan Square, right?
Yeah. It was, like, right above Red Star Liquor. I, like, loved it because the liquor store sign was right out the kitchen window, and I was, like, sold.
You're like, that's my place.
And it was a dump, and there were roaches, and, you know, they, like, wouldn't turn the heat on. Like, you'd have to constantly call. Even, like, recently, I was, like... It's like they'd turn the heat off when they thought people were at work. So from, like, 9 to 5... Like, my heater would turn on at, like, 5 every day. I was like, okay, but I'm here all day and I see what's happening. And as soon as I would call, they would turn my heater on for a little bit and then turn it off. So when I moved in, I paid $575 for a studio, and it has, like, a separate kitchen. Like, it's a bit big and nice in terms of that. And then I was paying $735 9 years later, which is not bad.
That's not bad at all. To
And
only
then-
go up, like, what, like, less than $200? That's nothing. That's
Yeah, over the course of 9 years.
9 years. That's not bad at all.
And then M. Fishman bought the building, and as soon as that happened, I was like, I'm fucked. And what happened was...
They double your rent?
I'm probably not... I don't know if I can talk about this because there is a lawsuit. But, yeah, I probably can't talk too much detail, actually. Fuck. I wonder what the deal is with that. But basically, M. Fishman bought the building and then wanted to raise the rent to $12.50. And interestingly, did not raise the rent on the few remaining, like, Hispanic tenants.
That is odd.
You know, white people can pay it. So that's a giant leap, which I could not afford. And eventually I got a 30-day notice that was like, didn't even give me the option to stay. It just was like, you've got to be out of here.
That's tough, man.
So hopefully we win this lawsuit, and if we do, it will be, like, it will set a precedent going forward. So chances are we probably aren't going to win it. But the goal is to win at least, like, I don't know, $2,000. Like, the expenses of, like,
Moving last minute, yeah.
And, like, a couple months
so
rent
expensive. This is why I just like staying in the same place for a while.
No, I didn't want to leave. I mean, I was very content there. I was very, very sad to leave there. It was like...
Well, it's the neighborhood also changed around you. That's what's interesting about living in the same place for so long is
Oh, yeah.
you see the neighborhood transform Like, that neighborhood must have gone
Oh my god.
night and day.
There was this place called the Winds Cafe. Where
I remember the Winds Cafe.
Yeah.
I used to see...
There was an open mic there.
I used to date a musician for a long time. And
No big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. But he used to play at the Winds Cafe once in a while. And this is still...
Terrible food, I thought.
Yeah, the people there were nice, though. But I remember... Yeah, that was, like, kind of where the... Oh, I forgot.
Longman and Eagles.
Yeah, we're Longman and Eagles now. Because we used to go back... This is back when I was in college. Like, from college, we would drive from DeKalb to...
Oh my god, you went to DeKalb.
I went to
Is that
NIU.
weird?
No, I mean...
DeKalb seems depressing.
Well, I mean, it was a typical little college. I mean, I was in my own little theater world, art, you know, all the artsy people I hung out with. So it was fun. I had a typical college experience.
Yeah.
It was fun, you know. I'm glad I had it, you know. I'm from Louisville, so it's not like I knew nobody there.
Oh, that's
so that was cool because, like, I think I maybe knew one
they
person.
They have a good theater program. Oh, cool.
Or they did at the time. I think they do still. But they have a very intense Meisner program, and one of the few people that still teaches under Meisner, Catherine Gately, very good teacher. But yeah, so we used to drive, and he would do gigs at the Winds. It's so funny because sometimes I'll do a show or a mic at this place. I'm like, wait, this used to be a place I used to see him play, you know?
Yeah.
The Winds.
So there was the
Hideout.
Winds?
He used to play at the Hideout too.
I love the Hideout. Yeah, in Logan there was Boulevard Bikes, still there. Lula, still there. One of my favorite restaurants. The Winds. There was Helen's Two Way. There was Bonnie's, or Bonges. I don't know. It was like the sign was like so weird. That had this great little sweet spot, but it was getting gentrified. But they would have like a cool DJ, and they would actually charge white people more money for drinks when they would come in.
What?
It was crazy.
There's
a lot of
how
resentment.
Did you feel about that?
There's a lot of resentment, and I can't say that I don't get it. You know, but of course I am white. I am wearing rabbit fur around the town, but very poor.
Real rabbit fur?
Yeah, I got 2 rabbit fur coats. I mean, they weren't given to me. They were both gifts.
Yeah.
Vintage.
That's cool.
So I look like I'm part of the problem, but in my mind, I still support. I'm not going to these new places really. Like maybe I pop in once in a while, but I'm still trying to support the businesses that, you know, the little carnicerias, the bars that have been a small bar has been there forever. That was my first like hang. But yeah, now it's just like there's a surfboard bar, there's craft cocktail bars on every corner, there's breweries, there's every
arcade bars.
Yeah, giant ugly condo buildings down Milwaukee.
Well, I feel like they're changing this, like, because they're getting big. They're building all this shit.
What
like,
the fuck is all this?
Oh my god!
Apartments?
I mean, yeah. So there's Belmont and Clark. They're building like really tall. Like,
miss that Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, yeah. Now it's just like a tiny little thing that they have by the CTA, which is lame. But like in the alley, I guess that whole thing is stores that they say they're gonna reopen, but like it's all different. Like they completely tore down where IO and where Goose Island used to be, and like all that shit. It's crazy. So I don't know. By the time it's finished, I don't know. I probably won't be living here by that time.
Oh, where are you gonna go?
Oh, well, we'll see. First of all, the rent would probably go way up anyways to be unaffordable. But yeah, that stuff's not gonna be finished till like 2018. So
yeah.
So I don't know. It's just everything changes so much, and you feel old when things change. I think it's like you've seen something change, a neighborhood change so much.
Well, it just like makes me sad that like all the taquerias are closing. Like I didn't even fucking like that place, but what was it called? Right on the corner of Fullerton and Milwaukee, and now it's a ramen. Now it's Furious Spoon. And it used to be this. I liked all the plants in the window. It was like, you know, you'd have a few drunken.
It was a neighborhood
there.
It was a neighborhood feel, and not like a cookie cutter thing.
What is the obsession with ramen? I like don't get it. Like a giant hunk of meat that's hard to eat.
I think
the whole fucking thing is hard to eat.
I think that's with like everything though. It's like, oh, like, you know, back when they had like the cronut or all that other random shit that people have.
What's a cronut? It's a donut.
I don't even know what it is, to be honest. It's like a croissant donut thing. I don't know. But there's also like the fancy donuts or the.
Oh my god, so many donut shops.
Like there's
cupcakes.
Yeah, the cupcakes, that was a thing. Then the froyo, it's like there's some sort of sweet thing that they come up with like every year or two, and people are all about it, and then they all close like a year later.
Yeah. I don't know. It is weird.
I feel like people with the gentrification, I feel like they're telling you what you want to have versus you discovering it yourself. It's like you see so much of the same thing. Like you see ramen everywhere, and you're like, oh, maybe I should eat ramen. There's like 10 ramen stores I see around here, you know, instead of
right,
you know.
Yeah. When in actuality it was like, I only moved to Logan Square because my best friend at the time lived there, so I wanted to move to Chicago, so I chose to live in the neighborhood where my friends lived, and I liked everything about having Hispanic people around me, like, honestly, and having their culture, eating good tacos for the first time in my life, like authentic tacos, learning how to make them myself, like.
¿Tú hablas español?
No. I feel like one time I somehow had some Spanish at a bus stop, but no. I mean, I took like 2 years, but
Yeah. Maybe you're one of the people that when you get drunk, you can suddenly speak Spanish.
No, but I wasn't drunk. I feel like I can piece together like a few connecting words and like a few now. I'm sure it's just like, well, I had this thing I posted. I was like, I bet when I was like in Spain, when the translation of like me at a bar was like, salutations. My number is Natalie. I am liking to drink beer. You know what I mean? Like, I bet I sounded ridiculous.
When were you in Spain?
2007? I don't know.
Did you live there or visit?
No, my mom and I went. I was just going to go by myself, and then my mom was like, I want to go. And I was like, this is changing this trip entirely. And we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of very intense moments, though. But very fun also. And I was like in Europe when I was in college a bit, and so just making an ass of myself.
Yeah, you gotta do that. Have that college experience, travel around.
Yeah, you don't appreciate it though, is a problem. You're just like, I'm just getting drunk, and I'm just 21, and
or you're excited. Like I went before I was 21, and I was like, oh, I get to drink and I get to do this, and like that was the excitement. And there's boys and girls with accents, and this is fun, you know?
Like, I'd go to art museums, and I was like, I don't know anything. And I don't appreciate the, like, I don't have my own taste in, like, paintings yet, really. You know what I mean?
Well, the art thing, because I went to a weird school, and so, like, I was exposed to art at a young age, so, like, I kind of got that, because I was used to going to museums and stuff, but I think what blew me away is, like, the history, like, in Oxford.
I love history, yeah.
Like, I studied abroad in Oxford, and the college that I was staying at had been around since 1263. So the college was like twice as old as our country. Wow. And I was like, that alone was blowing my mind. I was like, what? Like, this library has been around way longer than our country, way longer than our Constitution, way longer than anything else. And like realizing as like an 18-year-old that, okay, this world is so much bigger than America. This world is so much bigger than what I've been grown up to be, taught.
Yeah.
And because in America, all of our news is so us. It's all about us. Like, we're so egotistic as a country. And I feel like that really affects you until you travel outside of that. And you realize, okay, this is not the only way to do things.
Right. Like the Vietnam War in Vietnam is called the American Imperialist War.
Yes. Oh, that was weird. I went to Vietnam, and I went to Da Nang a few years ago. I visited a friend who was studying abroad there, but it was so weird to go to, like, their museum, and it's, like, pictures of people, Americans, like, the captions, like, Americans committing war crimes, and, like, things like, it was, like, totally different perspective, and I'm like, oh, okay. And just like it kind of changes everything, but everyone there is super nice because nobody was really like, most people that are alive, like, weren't around in the war, and the people that are don't talk about it. They don't like resent people for it, but it's a very different world.
Yeah, it is crazy. I went to Berlin, and I took a walking tour, and it was like February, and like I loved Berlin, and I'm like, it's definitely like World War II history is really fascinating to me. It's so funny, like I'd be in Prague and you would be like, take this haunted pub tour, and you'd be like, look for the man with the yellow umbrella, and so you would, like, that would be your guide, and I'd like make my way to the town square and see a guy with a yellow umbrella, and I'd be like, well, there's no one else. Like, I'd smoke a cigarette and watch him for a while, and I was like, oh, this is just me a date. And there's no one else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no one else there.
So weird. Yeah, Prague was really cool, too.
I want to go back to... I went when I was super young. Like, I went when I was, like... Not super young, but I was, like, 18, 19 or something. I was like, I want to go back.
But that's what I mean. It's like now I would, like, care to learn more. Like, I'd care more about learning now.
Like, then I was, like, taking absinthe and going to, like, the blacklight puppet shows. Like, that's what I would do.
Right.
That's what I did at Prague. And it was fun. It was great, but...
Did you go to the bar where you could, like, flick on a light switch and, like, look into a room and there were just, like, dead bodies in there? Like, corpses?
Oh, yeah, actually, I know. So
Or
this
tombs
is...
or-
yeah, so this was Kutna Hora. We had to take, like, a weird bus outside of the city. So it was... We were in Prague, and we had to take this bus, and it was just me and, like... I was traveling with 4 people, but only, like, 2 of us wanted to go. And we were 2 girls.
Is this the Bone Church?
Yeah, I went to the
didn't
Bone
go to
Church.
that.
Yeah, that was crazy to get out to
I wish I'd gone to that.
because it was insane just trying to figure out the bus stations at the time because they didn't have the right translations. No one really spoke English, and just trying to figure out the right bus to get on. And then, like, I think the bus broke down, and then they had us, like, in these weird cars that were supposed to, like, transport us to where the bus... It was kind of sketchy. But then we got to the Bone Church, and that was crazy.
Yeah.
If you go into 3 dots and a dash, like, the way that they have, like, that reminds me of it. Like, the way that... But, like, they had... like 10,000 skulls. They made chandeliers. They made art out of the bones. And it is so eerie, but oddly beautiful. It's like, I don't know. It's so weird. I don't know if I would rather be buried in the ground or be part of, like,
a chandelier.
Yeah. It's like what would I rather do?
What would Sia prefer?
I feel like people are doing a lot of weird things with their dead bodies now. Like, my dad wants us to all, as a family, they have this thing where you get cremated and then they put you on this thing that's like an artificial coral reef, and they put you in the ocean, and they give you coordinates, and, like, you help rebuild the coral reef. And, like, he's like, oh, we can have this section of the ocean off this coast that my dad has some property on. And so it's like, oh, we could all be at this place, and if you want to visit, instead of, like, going to a graveyard, you take a boat out and you have a drink over. I'm like, that sounds really cool. It's different.
Whoa. I wish I could remember the mushroom burial that I, like, saw a TED talk about, but I can't speak on it because I don't remember anything.
What?
That's what I mean. I can't. Like, there's just something to do with, like, fuck. I don't know. I can't. I'll have to, like, look it up.
Give it a second. Double check time. Oh, it did stop. It's okay. We're cool. Awesome.
What was I gonna say? The
mushroom burial. What do you see yourself? Would you rather?
Prague. One more thing, getting back to Prague, is like, when I was in Eastern Europe, I was 21 years old. It was like 2002 or 3. I had a Walkman and, like, this couple of CDs that I felt like carrying with me. I had no cell phone. I would get off trains, go to kiosks, find maps, follow the map. Mm-hmm. Like, just such a different time. Like, now with phones, it's like...
Well, whenever I travel to the country, I use that as an excuse to go off the grid. I'm like, hey, I'm leaving the country, guys. I'm going to check my email once a day. That's it. Like, I use that as an excuse. I never buy a plan because, unless I guess if I was traveling doing business, like if I was going to go do some stuff in Canada or if I had to film something somewhere, yeah, I guess I would use it. But when I travel for fun, I'm like, no, I'm off the grid. Like, that's why I like going out of the country and, like, traveling by myself because, like, I can do what I want when I want.
But you still take phone photos?
No, I take real photos with, like, a camera.
I had, like, a film camera for so long, and then it, like, got a light leak, and then I just never bought a new one.
Yeah, I'll take, I like to do a lot of street photography, so, like, getting pictures of, like, people and the culture and that kind of thing, so that's something I like doing, and kind of trying to immerse myself in, and I think it's nice, because when I travel and I my phone doesn't work, like, when I was in Italy and when I was in Vietnam or Cambodia, like, the nice thing is when I walked around, instead of walking around looking down at my phone, I'm walking around experiencing everything, looking around, taking everything in, and not taking things for granted, because it's a whole different culture I've never experienced.
Right.
But when I'm here, it's like, oh, phone, yes, addiction. I need to get better about that.
Yeah. I think the phones are really fucking us all up.
Yeah. Giving us cancer.
I think it's giving people profound sadness and jealousy, and because people are, it's like I found out a friend is like breaking up with his girlfriend, and I was like, oh, that's so weird, because if I go to your Facebook, there's like the happiest photos of you guys together like 2 weeks ago, and this is all, do you know what I mean? Like, what you show people is not reality.
Oh, yeah. I think it's definitely interesting
So it makes people feel like, here we are on our honeymoon, or like, we're so happy. And it's just like, no, you're not.
Well, it's so interesting how people want other people to be perceived. And it used to be just a thing like, oh, yeah, you'd send Christmas cards once a year, right? And then that would be your whole thing, or you'd send a letter or something like that. But people don't do that anymore. And it's so crazy because you're friends with people that you don't even remember. You couldn't even tell me anything about them, You've got if somebody's got like 5,000 friends, can you name all your 5,000 friends?
No,
of course you can't.
That's why I posted on the guy. I was like, if you comment on this post, I'll try to tell you how I know you. And I honestly would do no research, and someone would be like, hey, and I'd be like, zero idea who you are. And it was like brutally honest. I was like, I'm not trying to be mean, guys, but no idea. And people would be like, I guess I'm not that memorable. We met 3 years ago. And it's like, why would I remember you from meeting once? I meet hundreds of people a day.
I feel so bad because I'm super bad at remembering names.
Me too.
And it's taken me like so long to like.
Our capacity, we don't have a capacity to know this many people. You shouldn't know this many names. It's too many names.
Yeah. Like that's why I use the categories so that way you can remember, oh yeah, this is a comic from New York, or this is somebody from this, but it's hard. So hard. I'm really bad with faces and names in general, and I'm really forgetful when I get tired. So
yeah,
if I start to get tired, like sometimes I'll have conversations that I don't remember.
Yeah, so. I have that too, but it's blackout.
Blackout? Do you black out a lot?
I think so. I mean, I think just chunks of a lot of nights I don't. Or I'll like remember it the next day, like, oh yeah,
or it comes back in like flashes.
Yeah, and then you're like, oof. Yikes.
Yeah. Cool. Well, as we're winding down the podcast, I always ask people, because we talked a little bit about dreams earlier, what are your dreams and aspirations for your future?
A studio apartment and dental insurance.
Yeah?
That's the current. I don't know. I mean, I'm living my dream currently, so I don't need to dream bigger. Because
you've done some pretty badass things, like opening for John Oliver and all that.
I'm very into the idea, and it's so hard, but I'm very into the idea of living in the moment. There is no future. There is no past. Well, there's a past, but there's no guarantee of a future. So to constantly be looking forward to something that may never come or exist is kind of pointless. You need to live each day in the moment, and I'm doing what I want with my life. I think I'm pretty good at it, and I'm happy, and I don't work a day job, and that means everything to me. I've prioritized freedom over everything. I will never work a day job again. I can't even imagine the things I will do before I would sit in a desk in fluorescent lighting.
You would do a, jerking off with Jose, right?
I'm sure I would. Yeah, so I feel, it's a long time coming. I worked a day job for 8 years, and then, just my last job 8 years, and then a desk job for a year before that, and then, bartender, service industry before that. And so I work festivals in the summer, which is very fun, and I make a lot of money. I'm the tour guide, which I love because I love history, and it's like performing, and I love Chicago. I love Chicago. I'm happy to be here. I'm not going to move to New York or LA unless there's a fucking good reason to. I don't really like those cities. I mean, I don't find them to be habitable cities. New York, if I had a fuckload of money, sure, I'll live in New York. I don't want a car. I don't want to live in LA. I don't want to live in a desert without water. Surrounded by people that want to be famous.
Yeah.
Because fame doesn't really interest me. I like anonymity. I really have very humble dreams. Just keep getting better. Don't burn out. Don't not write a new joke. Don't feel like you're progressing. Just keep.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm only 7 years in. It's nothing. 7.5 maybe.
Yeah.
I didn't even think I'd be good at stand-up until I was 10 years in. I have no patience with anything, but with stand-up, I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be fine. I'm not like in a rush to record an album, or I don't want to be on at midnight. I don't want to do a clean set on TV. I think it's ridiculous to censor me. This is...
Yeah.
Donald Trump is our president. I'll say whatever the fuck I want. You know, like...
Exactly.
He can. You know what I mean? Like, there's a part of me that's like, what if I make death threats against the president? Who gives a fuck? He made death threats pretty much against Hillary. Nobody gave a fuck. Yeah. He's our president. Gonna be our president.
I'm still, I don't know, maybe I'm just ridiculously optimistic or hopeful, but I think that maybe something will happen with the Electoral College with this Russia stuff. Who knows? Well, by the time this airs, we'll find out, but...
I think it's... I mean, I think, maybe he won't become president due to the 8 million problems that he has between his business interests and whatever. Mm-hmm. Or that he will get, I hope assassinated, or, what's it called? Kicked out? What do you call it? Impeached?
Impeached.
But then we got Mike Pence.
Yeah,
and we still have this whole cabinet of fucking monsters, so...
Well, that's why I think, I don't know, my prediction, and I could be wrong, I might just cut this out if this is completely wrong, but I think that maybe the electors are going to vote a different Republican in, and then it would go to House of Representatives, and then they'd vote him in. So maybe it would be like a Mitt Romney or a fucking... I don't care. Give me...
It's amazing how much I would, like, love a Mitt Romney.
Yeah, I know. Like, I'm like, give me Paul Ryan. I don't care. Like, give me somebody...
I can't stand Paul Ryan.
I mean, I don't care. Like, give me...
I know.
Jeb... I'd be happy with Jeb Bush. Like...
Would love a Jeb.
I would love Jeb Bush.
Let's get W back. I mean, I don't give a shit.
Like, it's so crazy how... Unfortunately, as much as I love Hillary, I don't think that she...
I don't think she wants it.
Yeah, I don't think she... I think that...
I think she's probably profoundly let down and sad and, like, also, like, relieved. And also, like, think about how awful... Someone said this to me the other day. It's like, think about how awful things would be right now if she had won. The narrative about her would be continued and heightened, and, the elections were botched, and, this shrill, corrupt bitch, and blah, 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 and, you know?
Yeah.
And the hate for women would be never-ending.
Yeah, kind of like how when Obama was elected, there was all the animosity more towards, like the Black Lives Matter, all that kind of happened because of... That would probably happen even worse in terms of misogyny if she had been.
Oh, for sure. It would have been 4 years of hell.
But I really, really wanted it to happen. Like, I know.
Me too. I'm depressed.
Oh, sorry. Sorry to end on a sad note. But I do think it's a really good idea to keep doing what you're doing, and I like that you live in the moment. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. I think so too. Hard. It's hard.
Yeah. Well, I always end the podcast by saying good night, everybody. Good night.
Night.
Thanks for listening to Sleeping with Sarah, where I slept with Natalie Jose. Be sure to follow Natalie on Twitter at Natalie Jose and check out her website, nataliejosecomedy.com. This podcast is part of the Laugh Factory Podcast Network. Please remember to subscribe and rate and review on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and SoundCloud. This podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Go to audibletrial.com/sleepingwithsarah. I'm releasing a new podcast each week. Be sure to tune in to find out who I have in bed with me next. Thanks to Josh Bryant for the music. You can view more on sleepingwithsarah.com, and please follow me on Twitter at Sarah Albritton. Until next time, good night.